What's up, guys? Welcome to the weekly technicals live session for November 4th, 2018. And before we go ahead and jump into the technicals and what I'll be looking for this week, I wanted to go over the economic calendar on Forex Factory. That way you guys just kind of have an underlying idea about the upcoming news events, what to watch out for, what to be on the lookout for, and things like that. So coming up for this week, we do have, well, daylight savings time did happen last night, so time has changed. Make sure that your calendars and all that stuff are all situated for the correct times, for the session times and all that. I believe we lost an hour, but I'm not really sure. So anyways, for the upcoming news releases for Monday, we have dollar index. We have some news during New York session, and for London we have GBP news here. We got services PMI, and then Tuesday is honestly the big day. So we have the congressional elections, and honestly, I feel like we should see what they do for that, and that'll honestly probably give us a better idea of what to expect for the later days in the week. But something that I do want to point out for you guys is we do have the elections on Tuesday, and we also have FOMC on Thursday. So we had NFP last week, we have FOMC this week. So these are, again, we just so happen to fall that we have these weeks back to back this week. But again, it's going to be one of those weeks where we're not going to be looking for huge expectations, anything like that. I'm going to be focused on the highest probability setup, which in my opinion, in terms of the day, looking at the news events, will either be Monday, Wednesday, or Friday. So typically we don't trade Fridays or even Mondays, but in this particular instance, the setup may form on Monday or even on Friday, which would put us, personally, I'm feeling like it would be better to trade at the end of the week. That way we have FOMC and the elections out of the way. So we may even hold off all week until Friday till we actually take a trade, which is very rare that happens. But that may be what we have to do in order to kind of get all of this stuff out in the market. That way we kind of have a better idea what the market's going to do. We don't want to try to position ourselves too much before heavily manipulated news events like this, such as FOMC, and even with the elections, that has a lot of big investors really waiting to see what's going to happen before they actually put their money on the line. So we should do the same. We shouldn't be in there trying to gamble and make as much money as possible during the volatility. We really need to wait for what that high probability setup is and really get that confirmation before we go in the markets and try to come out profitable. So while last week we did have a profitable trade and everything was all good, you guys noticed that we really only traded one day and we sat out the remainder of the week. So it may be the same this week. We may sit out all during the beginning of the week and take a trade on Friday. I don't know that for a fact, but I'm just saying, looking at the news events, that kind of seems like what may happen. Obviously, if I do take anything, I'll call it in the Telegram group. What I may do is there may be some demo signals this week, because I'm not going to be taking too many live trades. So when I'm actually talking about everything that I just mentioned, I'm basically referring to me taking any live trades. So when I call a signal that doesn't say demo signal, it's a trade that I'm actually taking as well. So for me personally, if I do take a trade, it'll more than likely be Friday or sometime after FOMC. In terms of trading before that, I may take a trade on Monday or Wednesday, but it may just be kind of like an observing trade or like testing testing my prediction or whatever before FOMC or after the elections, or vice versa, before the elections. But again, that'll be on a demo account. That won't be live. I'm not trying to go in there and put live money at risk before these type of news events. So just something that I think you guys should also keep in mind for any of your trades this week. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. Obviously, once we get FOMC and everything out the way, then we don't really have that to worry about. But when we do have that as upcoming news releases, we really have to be conservative on the trades that we do take and limit ourselves, so we're not over trading and putting a ton of money at risk and or low probability times in the market, in my opinion. So with all that being said, let's jump over. We'll talk about the technicals now. And let's take a look at dollar index. So On Thursday, we seen a massive sell-off on dollar index coming off of that 97 big figure where we ran out the liquidity. So those of you in my premium group, you know about the 97.20 level. We called that as a high, so that happened on Wednesday, and we ended up selling off from there, and we've broke below this ICT bullish order block here. So we did close below it, but if you notice, we haven't seen a significant bearish candle below there. So I'm potentially anticipating this as a fake out to get a bunch of retail traders short. I'm not necessarily expecting this as the top yet. Basically, you know, what I'm seeing right now is we've broken above these equal highs that we had, and then we've come all the way back down, taken anybody out that was long here, and we've retested these equal highs back here. So last week I did have this as my invalidation level for longs, but just based on the price action so far, I'm anticipating further higher prices. But if we do get below Friday's low, which comes in at 96 big figure, I believe. Yeah, it comes in at 95.99. So if we get below 96 big figure, again, Friday's low. So I'll just go ahead and adjust this here. So if we get below that, at that point, I'll be switching my bias and I'll be looking for bearish price action, and I'll be looking for continuation lower. So obviously I won't sell, you know, as soon as it trades below 96 big figure. But if we get below 96 big figure and we're showing bearish price action, we're respecting resistance levels, I'll start looking for opportunities to position myself short and look for lower targets here in terms of swing low, swing low, swing low, swing low, swing lows. So that'll be much longer term, you know, way back here, but we have to really see, once we get below 96 big figure, can we hold below that, and are we confirming bearish price action by forming lower lows and lower highs? So overall, I want to see higher prices as long as we remain above the 96 big figure. And in terms of targets, first target will be 97.20 on dollar index. And then if we can reach for this liquidity above this high back here, we've got 97.80. And then we've got this ICT bearish order block resting above these equal highs, which comes in at 98.50. So those are much longer term, not necessarily saying we'll get that expansion on this particular week. We could, but as of right now, I'm really just focused on this market staying above 96 big figure. They can really kind of hold it within this range for a bit, but personally I want to see them continue trading higher and at least break above 97.20 with a, you know, significant bullish candle and stay above there. And basically, if we can get that to happen, this down candle here would become a valid ICT bullish order block, kind of how this one did here. So we had 2 days that closed above it, confirmed it as a bullish order block, but then we traded through it. So if we can get back above this down candle, this will become a new ICT bullish order block, and we can look for a retest of that once we get above it. So just to kind of give you guys an idea of what that price action would look like, we should see a candle close above it, and then from there we could see the next day or next few days come down, retest this down candle, which would be new support, right? Because right now it's resistance. We sold off. Once we get above it, it should act as support. Also comes in the form of an ICT bullish order block. From there we'll look for support to be found and higher prices. So that's going to be how I'm playing dollar index, but really up until, you know, we either get above 97.20 or below 96 big figure, I'm not really doing anything yet because I want the market to prove to me, you know, one of those biases so I can see which one is correct, and then I'll have more confidence when going in to position myself in a trade. So let's go ahead, we'll move over to euro dollar now. And as you guys in the premium group know, I was looking for continuation on euro dollar to get below 1.13 big figure. We actually came down to a low of 1.1302 and had a strong push up on Thursday here. So obviously we were out of our position because, like I always tell you guys, you're going to want to exit your position 5 pips early. Most of you, if you're watching this on YouTube, like the recording of this on YouTube, you may have not have known that yet, but in the premium group we basically look to exit any of our positions 5 pips before our level gets hit, just to account for any of the spread. So I closed at about 13.10 or so and left about 10 pips on the table, but nonetheless I was not worried about that. we had a nice 70 pips or so on euro last week. So Thursday we did see a significant push up, and from there we ended up making a higher high. But similar to dollar index, we've come back into this down candle, which is an ICT bearish order block, and I've got the 50% level marked out, which comes in at 1480. So just how I mentioned, we have that invalidation level for dollar index at 96 big figure. For euro dollar, I'm going to be looking for 1480. So as long as we stay below 1480 on euro dollar, I'll be looking for continuation lower. First target will be that 1.13 big figure, which is about 90 pips from where we're at right now. If we get and close back above 1480, at that point I'll be looking for continuation higher. So if we get above this level, look for the liquidity on this swing high at 1550 to be ran, and then these swing highs back here at 1620, and then if we can get it, we'll look for some type of trade back up into this level. But that can only happen if we get and close above 1480. As long as we remain below that, I'm going to be looking for lower prices, and my first target will be again 13 big figure, 1.13 big figure. Because in my opinion, if you think about what's happened so far, they took this market all the way up, right? They had bullish price action going on in here. Then they sold off, right? Sell off, came all the way back up, traded into resistance, sell off, resistance, sell off, resistance. On Thursday, while it was a big push up, they've only traded back up into daily resistance. And then if you look below us, they've left equal lows. So now people in the retail world are probably thinking, okay, we've got strong support that's come in at 1.13 big figure, expect it to go higher, whatever they're thinking. I don't necessarily think they're going to start pushing up higher from here. They could very well continue higher, and this could be the low. I just don't suspect that with them leaving the liquidity below here. So everyone that bought the market above, like as it's running up, they have their stop loss resting below here. So in my opinion, they're not going to want to bring it all the way back up here and let the people who bought it become profitable again. They're going to want to take them out, and the only way to take them out is hit their stop loss, which is below 1.13 big figure. So I'm kind of seeing this as one of those potential turtle soup scenarios. It really depends on what we get with dollar index, and that's kind of why I'm not taking any trades until something high probability happens. So all these scenarios I'm talking about are really what I'm looking for to happen in price action. If that happens, I'll consider those high probability scenarios, and this is one of them here. So if we actually trade below here and start showing signs of support, we can anticipate higher prices once we've run out the low here. But as long as we remain above 1.13 big figure, I'm just seeing this as a potential double bottom, right, or equal lows, and I'm looking for lower prices. So most retail is probably looking for higher prices, thinking this is strong support, but I don't necessarily see that as the case yet. If we get back above 1480, then I'll consider this as a potential low. But as long as we're below 1480, I'm considering bearish prices on euro dollar. Alright, let's move to GBP USD now. And same goes for this pair here, right? So we've seen a aggressive push up on Thursday. This pair actually moved like 270 pips on this platform. So huge day for the cable on Thursday. And we'll talk about basically like what led to that. And again, the premium group, you guys already know, it was basically that chart that we shared with Euro GBP, but I'll show you guys in just a second after this. If you look at GBP USD, we've had similar thing happen here. The market came all the way down here, stopped just shy of the liquidity below 2660, and had a sharp retracement up. Again, we've technically just come back into daily resistance, so we've got this daily ICT bearish order block, and we've also got these down candles, which is a daily ICT breaker. So we're technically still above that right now. The 50% level comes in around 29.87, so you can use like 29.90. And if you look, we're right above 1.30 big figure. So we really want to see weakness from here personally, and I'd like to see 2660 as a target. But if we in my opinion, if we break above this high here that formed on Friday, which comes in at 30.40, so 1.3040, about 40 pips from where we're at, you know, at that point I could see it going higher for a bit, you know, at least coming back to maybe even run out these equal highs, or just, you know, tap into some liquidity in here. But as long as we really stay below the 1.3040 level, you know, ideally 1.3050 specifically, if we stay below that, you know, I'll be looking for lower prices, taking out the liquidity below here, 1.27 big figure. And if we can get below this low here, it's 126.60. So 127 big figure, 126.60, those will be my targets. And again, for that to happen, I need to see this high that was formed on Friday hold. So they can't come back above this high at 1.3040, or again, if you give it 10 pips of, you know, extra room, 1.3050. So let's talk about Euro GBP, because with Euro GBP, that is what led to that big push up on GBP USD on Thursday. So this is Friday's trading, this is Thursday, and this is Wednesday. And again, those of you in the premium group already know from the daily technicals, we talked about the 50% level here, the bodies of the candles, how they stopped right at it and sold off on Wednesday. And we were anticipating potential lower prices, which would have led to stronger GBP and weaker Euro, right? So on Thursday, we've seen a continuation lower, as we expected, off of the 50% level, causing GBP USD to have that strong bullish day, right? So we did see a push up on Euro dollar as well on Thursday, but if you look at the candle here on GBP USD, much larger, right? So the big move happened in GBP USD, and I was not a part of that. I was a part of the sell early on during the week because I felt that was the most high probability to run out these equal lows. I was looking for big bearish candles to get below here. As you could see, Tuesday and Wednesday, Monday and Tuesday, we had that happen. And Wednesday, Thursday, we had a reversal. And Friday, we just closed the week right back within this candle here. So I took part in the sell here, but I did not take part in the buy. Okay, because I'm higher time frame bearish this pair and bullish dollar index. So if that's the case, I'm not going to be looking for these, you know, in my opinion, short-term intraday reversals or anything like that. You can anticipate these, but they're not as high probability in my opinion. So that's why I elected to go with the sell early on during the week, and I didn't really look at the charts much after that. So, you know, I didn't really notice this move till after the fact. But again, even if I did notice it as it was happening, it probably wouldn't have been something I would have taken or even called as a signal. So GBP USD for this week, I'll be looking for continuation lower up until we get above 1.3040. If we get above and we close above 1.3040 to 130.50 with a big bullish candle, I'll be looking for higher prices. But as long as we stay below there, again, my first target will be 1.27 big figure down to 1.2760. 126.60. All right, so we talked about Euro GBP. Let's talk about dollar yen now. So dollar yen, this is pretty interesting. I don't trade this pair much, but I've had this ICT bearish breaker marked out. So basically, this down candle led to a push up, which broke structure as well, breaking out, making a higher high. We came all the way below that, traded back up, acted as resistance, sold off, made a lower low. Found support at this 50% bullish order block, and then we traded higher, and we kept the bodies of the candles still within the red box, which is the bearish breaker. So when we trade into this bearish breaker, we should see weakness. Notice how we've come in initially seen weakness, but now we're getting to the point where we're back above it now. So in my opinion, I think dollar yen will see strength. Personally, for a target on the week, I'd like to see if we can get above 114.50. In order for that to happen, we have to hold the low that happened on Friday, which came in at 112.55. So you can use 112.50. This market should remain bullish as long as this low is in place. If we close below this candle, 112.50 on a daily basis, I'll be looking for lower prices, and this low will be my first target at 111.40. But as long as we're above the red box, which again, you can mark this out on your platform, all you do is take a box and you draw it around this down candle. Notice how it's basically acting as resistance. Trades above it, it should act as support. Okay. 1450 is a level I'd like to see traded to, but we could see some resistance come in at 113.50, which is the daily bearish order block here. But personally, if we are bullish, we should trade right through it, and 114.50 should be the area that the price is pushing to. All right, and Australian dollar. So another one on Thursday, we seen nice bullish retracement here. Friday we came up, made a high, and we closed back down here. Okay, so in my opinion, I'm seeing this as a potential break in structure. You know, everything's not in line yet because obviously I'm still technically bullish dollar index, which means I would expect lower prices on this pair here. But if you look at the hourly, the daily, we're trading in this consolidation, came down here, poked below the lows, down candle, this candle closed above it, traded down into it, found support, boom, huge push up. So I'm anticipating this as a potential break in market structure, right? So if it is, and the market does trade back down to 0.71 big figure, I would expect support there. Okay, we can even get some support coming in at this high, which would be 71.60. So let me just adjust my levels. And the other level was this bullish order block, which is 71 big figure. All right, perfect. So those are the next levels of support. So if this is in fact a break in market structure, we should see support be found at one of these two levels here. If we do find support, I'll look for a run on the liquidity above this high, and this high here. Again, this is the daily time frame. Now, if we get back below the 50% level of this candle, which I'm just going to eyeball it here for the sake of saving time. So the 50% level, in my opinion, is about 1.70. Why do I keep saying 1? 70 point. My God, my bad. I keep messing up. 0.7080. So if we can get below 0.7080, that'll be the 50% level of this bullish order block. And then I'll look for a run on the liquidity below this low. But honestly, guys, as long as we're above that level, we could see stronger Australian dollar. It's just something that I'm anticipating because this, to me, I don't know, just this price action looks to me like we had consolidation, ran the liquidity below here, consolidation, ran the liquidity below here, and then we had this huge push up. I'm seeing this as a potential break in structure. So, we are within this daily order block, so I do see this as well. And that's why I am anticipating, resistance to come in, but I really want to see what happens once we get to this level or this level. If we're showing support here or showing support here at the same time that dollar index is trading into resistance and looks like it wants to head lower, this could be a pair that we can go ahead and place a buy on and get long and look for higher prices. All right, and we've got New Zealand dollar as well. Same thing goes for this one here. So let me actually delete this. So we came down, and honestly, what day was this? Wednesday. I was expecting continuation lower here because we had traded Where is it at? We had broken below this low, and so I was expecting price to really continue lower, maybe retest this and sell off and get below here. That didn't end up happening. We ended up, I'm gonna go back out to a daily. We ended up basically coming down, closing right below the bodies of these candles, and then having a huge day on Thursday here. So we haven't made a higher high yet, but personally I think this 67 big figure is going to be next in terms of the bulls, and then from there 67.20 is the next level on New Zealand dollar. But same goes for this one here, right? We want to see, can they find support at these levels? So this is going to be number 1, which is 66.10. And from there, I want to see if we start trading below that. I want to look at this high, which comes in at 65.70. Right, and if we can start to find some support there, obviously I will have to you know, potentially look for dollar index trading into resistance and see if we can get a, you know, potential long or buy this pair. And you know, maybe this is one of the ones that'll be clear, because we do have these longer term equal highs back here on a daily basis. You know, relatively equal highs here, relatively equal highs here. So there's liquidity built up above the market, and if you look, we've, you know, consistently been taking the liquidity below the market. So, you know, we'll see. This could be the early signs of a reversal. So we've got this low, market came all the way up, came back down into support, huge push up. So that's why I'm kind of anticipating higher prices here, because this low at 64.20 could be a longer term low, and we could see New Zealand dollar start trading higher. So that's kind of how I'm, you know, factoring all this in. Now, if something that you have to remember is, you know, I am bullish dollar index right now. So I'm going to be primarily focused on sell setups for these currencies that we've just mentioned, right? But these are the technical levels, right? Like levels of a technical analysis that you should be looking for. So this is the most recent support. This is the next most recent support. If we trade into that, I'm going to be seeing, can we find support there, or are we just breaking right through it and we're obviously, you know, weak and we're bearish? So we have to still have the levels on our charts, but we need to wait for the level to confirm, and that will basically validate any trade that we take, right? So for New Zealand dollar, I'd like to see it come back into these levels, and once we get there, I'll basically have more information about what I should do. Should I buy it at these levels based on finding support, or are we trading right through it, and do I need to wait for some level of resistance for this market to trade in, and then we could look to sell it? All right, and the last pair, guys, is dollar CAD. So we had the liquidity mapped out here above the 3160 level, and if you look, we poked above it Wednesday, rejected hard on Thursday, came back up Friday, retested this up candle, which is now a confirmed daily bearish order block, and you know, we really just closed right back down here. So I'm interested to see if we can get back above these highs in here. So the 3160 level, can we get back above that? If so, I'll be looking for the high here at 32.25, and then the high here at 32.90 to 33 big figure. If we do get below Friday's low, though, which comes in at 1.3048, I'm going to be anticipating potential lower prices. And the reason for that is because at that point, this would have been a stop run on this high. We've got a bearish order block. We retested it as resistance. We sold off and made a lower low. And that would give me enough confirmation, you know, to potentially look for further weakness in this pair. But at the moment, I don't see that, right? I'm looking for a run on liquidity above here, because if you look at the overall structure, we've got low, high, low, higher high, low, higher high, low, expecting higher high. So I'm anticipating that. We'll see if we can get it, but again, my invalidation for the bullish scenario is basically over with if we get below 1.3050. If we get below 1.3050, I'm going to be looking for reasons to sell this pair. I have to have the confirmation before I sell it, though. I'm not going to sell it as soon as it breaks here. I have to see the market forming bearish order blocks, using them as resistance, and selling off, making lower lows. If that happens, then I'll get short. But as long as we're remaining above this and we're forming higher highs and higher lows in terms of a daily perspective, I'm going to be looking for higher prices. Alright, so that's it for this week's weekly technicals video. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording, and I'll take any questions that you guys have now for you guys in the premium group.